On September 8, 2017, a group of friends gathered for a party at the Crowne Plaza Hotel in Rosemont, Illinois, a suburb just outside of Chicago. Among them was 19-year-old Kenneka Jenkins, a bright young woman with her entire future ahead of her. But within 24 hours, what began as an evening of celebration would end in unspeakable tragedy, as Kenneka was found dead in the hotel's walk-in freezer. Kenneka's death quickly became the subject of intense media coverage, social media speculation, and public protests. What exactly happened to Kenneka Jenkins during those fateful hours? Why was she found in a freezer, and how did the investigation unfold? Despite the official ruling of accidental death, many unanswered questions remain, leaving her family and supporters demanding justice. This is the story of Kenneka Jenkins, a case that raises troubling questions about surveillance, security, and the circumstances surrounding her mysterious death. A night out with friends. On the evening of September 8, 2017, Kenneka Jenkins left home with a group of her friends to attend a party at the Crowne Plaza Hotel. The party, which took place in a hotel room on the 9th floor, was a casual gathering of friends, with music, drinks, and selfies, typical of any night out for teenagers and young adults. Around 1:30 a.m., Kenneka sent a text to her sister, letting her know that she had arrived safely at the hotel. According to her friends, Kenneka was having a good time, but by the end of the night, she had become visibly intoxicated. As the party wound down, her friends realized that Kenneka was missing, and they began searching for her. By 4:30 a.m., they contacted her mother, Teresa Martin, who immediately rushed to the hotel, knowing that something was terribly wrong. The search for Kenneka. When Teresa Martin arrived at the hotel early on the morning of September 9, she was frantic. Kenneka had not been seen in hours, and her phone and car keys were still with her friends. Teresa repeatedly asked hotel staff for help, requesting access to surveillance footage and assistance in searching the premises. However, hotel management initially refused, stating that it was against hotel policy to release such footage without a missing persons report. Frustrated but determined, Teresa contacted the Rosemont Police Department and filed a missing persons report. The police joined the search later that day, and by 10 p.m. on September 9, they had obtained access to the hotel's surveillance footage. It was the footage that provided the first clue in the baffling case. The surveillance footage, which would later become a critical part of the investigation, showed Kenneka Jenkins wandering through the hotel in the early hours of the morning. The footage captured her stumbling through the hallways, clearly disoriented, and at times, leaning against the walls for support. At approximately 3:20 a.m., Kenneka was seen entering the kitchen area of the hotel, an area that was closed to the public. The footage showed Kenneka making her way through the kitchen and into a corner, where she disappeared from view. That was the last time she was seen alive. Hours later, in the early evening of September 10, Kenneka's body was discovered by hotel staff in a walk-in freezer in the same kitchen area. She was found lying on her side, partially clothed, and her body showed signs of freezing. The investigation and official cause of death. Following the discovery of Kenneka Jenkins' body, the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office conducted an autopsy. The autopsy report concluded that Kenneka had died from hypothermia, a condition that occurs when the body's temperature drops too low, leading to organ failure and eventually death. The report also noted that alcohol and topiramate, a medication used to treat epilepsy and migraines, were present in her system. Kenneka had not been prescribed topiramate, and it is unclear how the drug entered her system. The combination of alcohol and topiramate, according to the medical examiner, could have contributed to Kenneka's disorientation and impaired judgment, leading her to accidentally lock herself in the freezer. The medical examiner's office ruled her death as accidental. However, for Kenneka's family and the public, this explanation was far from satisfying. The circumstances of her death, wandering into a rarely used part of the hotel, stumbling into a freezer, and dying unnoticed, raised more questions than it answered. public outcry, and social media theories. As news of Kenneka Jenkins' death spread, it quickly became a viral story, particularly on social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter. Thousands of people began sharing theories, discussing possible foul play, and analyzing the surveillance footage frame by frame. Many questioned why Kenneka had been left alone, how she had ended up in a restricted kitchen area, and whether someone else had been involved in her death. Some online theories suggested that Kenneka might have been the victim of a cover-up, with accusations that her friends, hotel staff, or even the police might have been involved. Others pointed to the delayed response of the hotel staff in helping Teresa Martin search for her daughter as a potential factor in her untimely death. In addition to the speculation, several protests were organized in Chicago and Rosemont, with demonstrators demanding a more thorough investigation into Kenneka's death. Many protesters accused the Rosemont Police Department of not taking the case seriously due to Kenneka's race and socioeconomic status. The case drew the attention of several high-profile activists who echoed the calls for justice and transparency. The freezer and security concerns. The fact that Kenneka was found in a hotel freezer raised significant concerns about the security measures at the Crown Plaza Hotel. According to hotel staff, the freezer in question was part of a kitchen that was no longer in use and was located in a remote area of the hotel. It had been left partially open and accessible, despite being in an area not intended for guests. Critics questioned why such a dangerous area, where an intoxicated person could easily stumble into harm, was not better secured. The fact that no one found Kenneka until nearly 24 hours after her disappearance also led to questions about the thoroughness of the hotel's response to her mother's pleas for help. In the months following Kenneka's death, her family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the hotel and its security staff, alleging that the hotel's negligence had contributed to her death. The lawsuit argued that the hotel had failed to properly secure dangerous areas and had not acted swiftly enough to prevent the tragedy. The ongoing fight for justice. Despite the ruling of accidental death, Kenneka Jenkins' family has never stopped fighting for justice. Teresa Martin has repeatedly called for the case to be reopened, believing that the investigation was incomplete and that crucial details may have been overlooked. She has maintained that there are too many unanswered questions surrounding her daughter's death and has sought a more transparent investigation. In addition to her family's efforts, Kenneka's case continues to attract public attention. It has been the subject of numerous documentaries, news specials, and true crime podcasts, with each re-examination of the case highlighting the lingering mystery and the family's quest for closure. Conclusion. The death of Kenneka Jenkins is a tragic reminder of how quickly an ordinary night out can turn into a devastating and life-altering event. While the official ruling in her case points to an accidental death, the lingering questions surrounding her final hours have left many wondering whether justice was truly served. Kenneka's family, and the countless supporters who have followed her case, continue to seek the answers they believe remain hidden. Her death, and the subsequent outpouring of public support, demonstrate the power of community in pushing for justice, even when the odds seem insurmountable. And that's the story of Kenneka Jenkins. If you found this video compelling, be sure to like and subscribe for more true crime stories and updates on unsolved cases. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss our latest content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.